let's go. Yo, you alluded to it, man. This is Washington. This is our college football update, man. We appreciate y'all being here with us. We got to go into week 13. We talked about it. You alluded to it, Alex. Ohio State beats Indiana. This was a matchup we had all been looking for. Obviously, Cincinnati undefeated up to this point, 10-0. Now I didn't catch this game, but the highlights I caught, it kind of seemed like business as usual. Kind of seemed like, hey, this is what Ohio State does. Now, to your point, you talked about, the special teams and it had that made a difference. Is the score not indicative of actually how the game was played yesterday?
It isn't entirely indicative of the game yesterday because for long stretches of that game, Indiana went toe-to-toe with them. Right. Indiana right off the bat drove right down the field and scored. Right. And then partway through the second quarter, they were able to stop Ohio State right at the goal line. They forced a turnover off a deflected pass. So Indiana was in that game for long stretches, but there were also long stretches where there was a sizable gap between the two teams. Ohio State's pass rush was insane yesterday. Mm-hmm. And whether it was sending 4 guys, 5 guys, 6 guys, 7 guys, it didn't matter. They were getting pressure left, right, and center. Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau were monsters. Tyleik Williams in the middle shut down the interior of the run game for the most part. They were able to run outside, Indiana was. But there were large stretches of this game where there was a different level to Ohio State versus Indiana.
Oh, absolutely. And you can see that with Indiana's offensive stats. I mean, Rourke, who we had talked about as the dark horse and the Heisman and outside, mm-hmm. Just outside and everything. He only had 68 yards passing, went 8 of 18. Altogether, they ran the ball 40 times and still weren't able to get even 100 yards. I mean, even 90 yards, to be honest with you. They were stuck at 85. So, I mean, to your point, Ohio State's defense came to play. This, I think, is the separator. Now, I love Will Howard, and I love that two-headed monster running back, the wide receivers and everything. That offense is elite, absolutely. But I think one of the things that's overlooked about Ohio State is how good that defense really is.
Oh, yeah. If you look at the numbers, Ohio State's the number 1 defense in the country right now. They've played Oregon. They've played Penn State. They've played Indiana now. So that's 3 teams that are realistically probably going to be I'll say the top 10 because I do think Indiana is still going to be ranked around 10, given the chaos that happened yesterday. But that's 3 top 10 teams and a couple other good matchups, and you've got the number 1 defense in the country. Yeah. So I think this is a team that could absolutely win it all, as much as I hate saying that. I think if they handle business against us next week, then that game against Oregon in the Big Ten title game should be a ton of fun again, like that first game was on the neutral site in Indianapolis. And then I almost think it might be better for the team that loses that game as far as the playoff path goes, because then you're going to get the 5 seed. Either of these teams, whoever loses is going to get the 5 seed. Then you're playing the 12 seed, which is probably the Big 12 champion. And then you get to go play, the 4 seed? If you're the 1 seed, you get the winner of 8 versus 9, which is probably going to be something along the lines of Georgia-Penn State. Mm-hmm. And Georgia probably wins that game handedly. And then you got to play Georgia on a neutral site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you tell me which one's easier.
Exactly. And so look, it's up in the air right now, and like you said, Ohio State got to win this week, and then they're in to face Oregon. If they don't lose, we'll talk about that a little bit later. What all goes down